This podcast is brought to you in part by P&P Games, your online source for everything video games. Visit their website at pnpgames.com or one of their 3 retail locations in Winnipeg, Manitoba. In this episode of the DeREZD podcast, episode number 9, we're going to be talking about PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, talking about sales, talking about updates, talking about people getting fired, all this and more on this episode of the DeREZD podcast. Alrighty, everybody, and welcome to episode number 9 of the DeREZD podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lloyd Hannison, and joining me, and just about to get into a marathon game session right after we finish this show, Will Kelly. Will, how the hell are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you, Lloyd?
I'm doing really good. We had my a family party for my son. It's a week after his actual birthday. But today's a holiday, a stat holiday here in Winnipeg. So we had all my family over, put out so much food. My son opened presents. My son ate all the food that we put out. It was just been a crazy day. It's nice to be able to kick back and do some podcasting, man. This is the way I relax on a Friday night. So this is going to be a good one, I think.
Amen to that. Let me ask you this. Did your son, does he have the patience of a saint and waited for his presents for today as well? Or was it just kind of like the celebration day?
Well, he got his presents from us on his birthday. So last Saturday. So he got I bought him a bunch of space Lego sets.
Nice.
Because that was the one thing that I always wanted as a kid was space Lego. So we got him, and he's way into Lego right now. So we did that, and that was awesome. But yeah, today was just like the family party. My side of the family and my wife's side of the family came in, and all the nephews came in as well. There was how many kids? There was 6 young kids running around our house, and it was interesting. But that's over. We ate lots of cake, and now it's time for podcasting.
Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, I love doing this, and it's really great to be able to put on something like that your kids are going to remember forever. So, and we played Definitely. Some games too. So, I mean, it's win-win-win.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Let's be honest, you got those Legos for yourself. You sent me a picture a couple weeks ago of your Skylander set, and that you got the new copy on the PS4, and I'm just thinking to myself, are these for Lloyd or are they for his kids? Because I'm thinking they're for Lloyd.
It's a little of both. They're for the kids, but I spend the most time with them. Although for the Lego, on last Saturday, we basically right after we ate breakfast, essentially, I made blueberry pancakes for him. That's one of his favorite things. We hung out for the morning, and then he opened his presents, and then he wanted to build Lego with me. So we built all the sets together that he got, and spent a couple hours playing Lego. It was,
awesome,
dude. It's awesome. It is really a lot of fun.
One day when I have kids, I want them for 2 reasons. 1, so I can play with their toys, and 2, so I can torture them like my dad tortured me, and all those stupid practical jokes that my dad thought was funny and I didn't. It's going to be my turn.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's fun, man. Having kids, I knew it was going to be awesome, but yeah, it is very, very, very awesome. So you'll get that one day.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right headfirst into the show. We love feedback. Thanks to everybody for being patient with us, for being gone for a few weeks and posting things a little bit later than we would have liked. Received a lot of really awesome feedback. Got a bunch of shout outs on Twitter, some email, a whole bunch of stuff. I even got I got a shout out from a listener. I'm just trying to dig up my tweet right now, but Twitter's taking its sweet time showing up. We had Darkside DJ. He's happy to be listening to DeREZD again. Cheers from Amsterdam. So we are a multinational podcast. Will, everybody's listening to us all over the world, which is really, really awesome. So a big shout out to everybody that stayed subscribed and is telling their friends to subscribe as well. We love it, and we want to hear from you guys. vgpodcast@gmail.com is our email. 505 VG Podcasts is our voicemail line, or you can reach us on Twitter like Darkside DJ did. I'm at DazMe on Twitter, and Will, you're at Iliam, ILIAM on Twitter. Follow us, chat with us. We love talking games, and we'd love to hear from you.
Please. I don't have enough real life friends, so I like my digital friends.
Yeah, exactly. They're more fun anyway. They don't call you on the phone. And
you don't have to see them in person.
Yeah, it's just so many good things. So many good things. All right, well let's jump into this. Let's get right into End of Line. End of Line is, of course, is our biggest story of the week. Might not be the most important story, but it's the one that maybe hit us with the most amount of surprise. This week we have a really weird one. So the news broke a few days ago that Marty O'Donnell, he's the composer for the Halo series. Basically, all the really iconic music from Halo was Marty O'Donnell. If you ever listened to any of the Bungie podcasts, you heard Marty come in and talk about what he was doing. He's also the composer, or was the composer, for Destiny. He was fired without cause from Bungie's board of directors. And it's not often that you hear that fired without cause. Usually there's it's a mutual agreement, which usually isn't mutual, but that's the way that they kind of whitewash it for the media. So this one kind of really made me kind of scratch my head and wonder what the heck happened.
Well, yeah, and it was one of those rare instances where sometimes announcements like this, you kind of have to read between the lines and kind of, okay, what's really going on here? Well, these were two very different stories from him versus what Bungie was posting.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it was a really, really bad event that caused this or what. But it looked like Bungie kind of took the high road in that exchange. Which, not to say that what Marty said was bad, but basically he's the one who said that he was let go by the board of directors, and Bungie said, "We wish you luck," and sorry we had to part ways, sort of.
Yeah, and there's been a little bit of chatter coming up after that. There was some posts on Twitter. Bungie's basically said, Bungie's COO said that we don't make decisions lightly. So I guess that means that we looked at what was happening and we had to make an action. I wonder what the issue was. Like, was it? He wasn't taking direction properly. His music wasn't, or his sound design wasn't what maybe the game director or the art director had in mind. It's just something that you don't see, and especially for someone like a composer, like it's hard to understand why this is news for most games, but for Halo, I mean, like the Halo theme with the chorus chanting in the background and the heavy like metallic guitar come in, and it's such an iconic sound, and if you hear, like, I'll play, this is I'm going to turn this down a little bit because it's going to be really loud. This is my buddy's band Super Effects. Like they even covered the Halo theme. I'll jump right to it. And you get into like the big guitar riffs coming in. I mean, that's like you hear that and it's like I'm riding around in a warthog and I'm shooting grunts, and like this is such a huge part of Halo, and I was kind of looking forward to kind of the same sort of like feeling from the audio with Destiny. I guess that is not gonna be the case in this instance.
Well, they did say that his music will remain in the upcoming game,
right?
Referring to Destiny, but yeah, it's. Who knows after that? Who knows if maybe he'll go back to 343? I mean, kind of a lot of Bungie left or split when 343 came to be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, it
Yeah.
could be something as simple as that. Like maybe he was putting too much Halo into the game, and they kept trying to dial it back, and then finally got to the point where it's like, okay, we have to ship this game this year. This isn't working. Boom, you're gone, type thing.
Yeah, because it's a long-term partnership. It's not like, oh, this is someone new. He's well known. He's someone new. We're not sure if he's going
Yeah,
to kind of match our culture.
yeah.
He was there from the beginning,
Like
and
Myth and Oni, which were
mhm,
OS 10 or sorry, Mac OS games from way back in the day. I mean, that's a long time. I mean,
yeah.
that's a long time in the gaming industry for sure. But yeah, I don't know. So this is pretty huge news. Will, do you have any other thoughts on what transpired?
No, I kind of yeah. I no idea. I mean, a lot of times when announcements like this happen, it's you really just have to speculate and throw shots in the dark. But I think this is just one more instance where the gaming industry is it's just such a volatile industry to be a part of, which is such a shame because
Sure.
I mean it obviously it's the reason this show exists. It's the reason video games exist is because of the industry, and it's got to make you wonder if it's ever going to get to a point where it's going to deter people from getting into it just because it's so volatile. I mean, we read weekly of developer layoffs or crazy things like this. Who was it from Naughty Dogs just a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, what's her name? I
I
was
want
just
to say
talking about
Abby
this.
Help, but
No,
that's
I was just talking about this
Respawn.
yesterday on the podcast. Amy Hennig.
Amy Hennig, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, and it's kind of weird because it almost seems like the games industry, a lot more people talk about things like this. Like when a studio shuts down, you hear about it. When a movie studio, like a production house or someone working on VFX or something, when a smaller studio shuts down, I don't hear it. Maybe it's because I don't follow the same sort of crazy like specific blogs. But you even hear about studio shutdowns on just general news. Like if you're following, like not even Polygon, if you go to like The Verge or some of the other more, or Engadget or anything that deals with kind of tech, you hear a lot of that stuff as well. So
Yeah, and that's actually what I was thinking of because I think it's the closest related to the movie industry, and you never hear about this sort of thing. Not to say it doesn't exist, but it's like this is big news kind of across the board when it comes to technology or entertainment type news.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know, man. This is really bizarre. I mean, I love Marty O'Donnell's work in Halo. I wish him well. Hopefully he goes back to he goes back to Halo. That would be kind of a nice return for him to land there and continue to create some awesome Halo themed music.
Well, it would because it's funny. Halo 4. I mean, every Halo game since the split and since Marty's ending work on Halo basically has just tried to emulate that sound. And
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds pretty good, but in the back of your mind, you know it's not original.
Yeah, and I mean the games themselves have been kind of they kind of pale in comparison to Bungie developed games, but yeah, hopefully it's going to be something. I guess the latest thing that he's posted, I guess O'Donnell tweeted a link to his website, which is going to give him updates on the next big thing. But there was an announcement that he's going to be at Video Games Live in Seattle and Los Angeles. So
That'd be pretty awesome.
that's a thing. So maybe he'll be there and doing some of that stuff there as well. So
Well, and I'm glad to hear that his Destiny work is going to remain there. As fans, it can be. At least we know what's the next thing we can look forward to if we're not going to be at this Video Games Live. We know what work is next, and Destiny has got to be kind of ramping down. They have time, but the beta is going to be launching here in just a month or two, and I would hate for them to have to redo all that audio work.
yeah, exactly. That's good. Cool. All right. Well, let's move past our end of line segment and let's get into some of the biggest news items this week. The first up, you dropped this in the show notes because you were pretty excited. You were actually asking me if I was going to play it before recording my shows yesterday because you were pretty stoked for it, and that is the big patch that has been promised for Infamous Second Son is finally out, and it adds a whole crap load of stuff to the game, which is really great. Did you spend a lot of time with this, Will? I saw you post a couple screenshots that didn't have a HUD on them, if I remember correctly. So I think you must have the new patch.
Yeah, I booted it up last night. I was just dying to get in and play around with the visuals, especially the day to night stuff. Oh, Lloyd, this game is so damn pretty. I can't get over it. And especially when you have the opportunity to kind of like stop things and slow it down and, really choose the angle in which you want to see these kind of artistic moments. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you haven't had a chance to play with it
yet? That's what I wanted to do today, but we just finished like kind of family stuff about 45 minutes before we started doing this thing here. So I didn't give it. I've installed the patch, but I haven't had a chance to fire up the game, unfortunately.
So let me just break down. For those that don't know what's in the patch, you have this new photo mode, which is awesome. But then you also have the ability to change the time of day. It's crazy. I was expecting like a few different times, maybe a nighttime, morning, afternoon,
right?
Because you never really, until you beat the game, you never really see like a daytime. I guess maybe at the beginning, but no, there's like 7 different times. There's like hero time. There's hero time is the one when you beat the game.
Sure.
There's like 3 different mornings, there's a couple different evenings, and then there's night, and it's just like it's so cool. And if you look at them, I honestly I didn't notice the differences between like 2 different types of mornings when I was playing it,
right?
But I guess that just goes to show how seamless those visuals were when you're actually in it. So that was really cool. I dig that. Although even though I checked them all out, they're really pretty. I still, when I was taking pictures, I just put it to night because I'm just like, talk about an accomplishment where a game that looks almost the prettiest when it's nighttime.
Yeah. Like night plus neon equals drool in this game. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, there's some weird options. You can cap the frame rate, so you can drop the frame rate to 30 frames a second so that it doesn't go up or down, or I guess it stops at 30 frames a second. It doesn't go below that or something. It's really weird. It's a cap. It's not a lock, which is really kind of odd. And some other things. It's a pretty huge patch. I guess that's what happens when your game sells 1 million copies, and they've always, like, Sucker Punch has always kind of spent a lot of time supporting their games. Like when Infamous 2 came out, it had a content editor, so you could make your own missions in the game. And by doing that, you drop nodes around the game and say, well, you have to chase someone here, and then you have to kill 5 bad guys here. And that was the same tool that essentially their dev team worked with when they were creating all the stuff in the game. And that was kind of a last minute, I guess not last minute, maybe the month before the game shipped. It's like, boom, this is coming out. You're going to be able to use the same dev tools that we do to create missions and upload them to the internet. And then they supported that for a long time. The servers are still up. Like, I jumped into the vampire version of this. I can't even think of the name of it. There was a Infamous 2 sequel, like a mini DLC sequel where you play vampires. I can't remember what it was called.
Oh, that's cool.
But so you're a coal with your electricity, and you also had vampirism, so you could do things like that. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I jumped into it the other day, and there's still like social missions are available. So their servers haven't dropped down. So yeah, I mean, if any company is going to support a game, I Sucker Punch, I would trust them to do that. And it sounds like that is exactly what they're doing with this.
Well, and to me, it's also kind of cool that it really shows how they have their fingers on the pulse of their community, because the announcement for the day night stuff and the photo mode, it came really soon after launch, and
Yeah.
before I even like kind of caught traction of people taking all these beautiful screenshots. So it's like they anticipated this and kind of planned for it long ago because they recognized the product they had.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the photo mode works really well too. The thing I would probably compare it to is the Forza photo mode, just because that's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head. And although the Forza one is it's a little more advanced, you have a little bit more control. I think the Infamous one is more than enough. You have f-stop control, depth of field control, focus.
Yeah.
You have anything you would possibly want.
The depth of
really.
field is what really kind of shocked me because I didn't anticipate that would be there. I thought it would just focus on Delson and that would be it. But yeah, no, you can mess around with that as well, which is pretty damn cool.
It is. I noticed a few when I was playing around with it last night, some glitches with the neon lighting a little bit, but it could have just been the building I was on. But I put the depth of field like really close to Delson, and then had the neon building blurred in the background, but it turned it into like this really weird blocky shaped building instead of like smooth blur.
Right.
But I don't know, it's cool. I can't wait for you to see it and see some of your photos. I already like the PS4 Reddit today was just nothing but Infamous screenshots, and some of them you're just like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Cool. So Infamous Second Son, the patch is there. Probably the best thing if you're a trophy hunter like me is they've changed it so that when you choose expert difficulty in the game, it lets you know whether you're going to be qualified for the Unstoppable trophy right after you come back from the menu. The way it is now, you're basically, what you have to do is start the game. You start on basically whatever, I think it's normal, and then as soon as you get control of Delson, you hit pause, you go to options, you go to difficulty, you set it to hard, and then you hope that you did it fast enough so that when you beat the game on hard, you actually get that Unstoppable trophy. Now it'll actually alert you to that. So that was kind of that should have been there from like day one type thing. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of nice. I've already got my platinum, but if you guys are looking for your platinum, that'll help you out a little bit.
Like this guy. Still working on mine.
Nice. Awesome. Well, let's move on. Let's get into the next one. Speaking of updates, Sony announced a huge update that's coming. Actually, they announced it after letting their sales numbers out of the bag. We'll get to the sales numbers later. But Sony is coming out, or they announced that the PlayStation 4 firmware update 1.7 will be coming out shortly, and they wouldn't qualify what exactly shortly is. So we don't know whether that's next week, if it's a month from now. It's shortly, and yeah, we'll see what happens. So what 1.7 is going to add a lot of really awesome features. We'll get to the biggest one after. I know we're going to want to talk about Share Factory a little bit, Will. But they've added some other features that are going to be great. The first one is you have the option now to go into your settings and turn off HDCP, which is the basically the copy protection across the HDMI. So if you want to do that, you go in, you turn it off, and when you're playing a game, your game will be pushed out through the HDMI port without HDCP on, meaning that if you have a video capture card like I do, I have the Game Catcher HD. There's a lot of other ones on the market. You'll actually be able to finally capture footage without going out and finding some sort of sketchy HDCP stripper device that will purport to remove the copy protection on the stream. Works sometimes, doesn't work all the time. Now you just be able to shut it off, which is a huge thing for myself. How about you, Will?
It has no effect on me, but I like that option. Let me ask you this, though. What's the point of, because it's there for DRM protection, right?
Yeah.
So what's the point of being able to, can some games or some types of media detect if it's turned off and not allow the media to play unless it's protected?
Yeah. So
Okay.
what it is if you're playing a Blu-ray, they don't want you to hook your video output from your PS4 up to some other source and record that Blu-ray footage and then upload it on the internet with like a perfect 1-to-1 HD footage type thing. So they enable HDCP, which means that it's increasingly difficult to get that captured on any other device. There's regular handshakes. Basically what it does is it makes a connection with your television, and the television knows that HDCP is on, and if that ever goes away, or if the heartbeat goes away, it will basically just stop displaying the content. So as far as I know, it's still on for every video source, even if it's like stream video like Netflix. But games, when you play a game, it won't broadcast with HDCP on, so you'll be able to use a video capture card to capture that type of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really good.
It just makes it nice for the super fans that are going to want to capture stuff and upload Let's Plays and all that other stuff on the internet. It's great.
Well, it's them listening to their consumers and making changes accordingly.
Yep, exactly. Some other stuff. They've announced that you'll be able to play a game as soon as it's released. What they're going to do is, if you pre-order a game online, so you want Watch Dogs, you pre-order it online, and a few days before the game comes out, it will start downloading to your PlayStation 4, and it will install on your PlayStation 4 and patch on your PlayStation 4, so it'll be ready to go. And then as soon as midnight ticks, wherever the time zone it's supposed to tick in hits, your game will be unlocked, and you'll be able to immediately go in and start playing it.
So we discussed something about this, a rumor about this a couple weeks ago for Titanfall, and we kind of speculated on why that rumor kind of was reversed. Do you think that this is going to be something that is a default for all games, or is it going to be game specific? Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think some publishers are gonna be able to say, yeah, you can preload?
I think it's going to be like across the board. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
Yeah, well, just because when we had that discussion a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the impact it has on retailers and how that it might hurt that partnership a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first step. It's the first, like, they've fired a couple shots across the bow. Now this one is like actually like hitting some flags that are on the deck of the ship, and pretty soon the next couple shots are going to take out something of interest on those ships. Like I'm waiting for the day that when you pre-order a game digitally, you can play it on Sunday night. Otherwise, if you buy it like retail, you have to pick it up on Tuesday, right? I mean, that will be the next big screw you GameStop thing for like Sony and Microsoft to do. But this is a huge thing for usability. Like, how many people bitched at Last of Us? Last of Us was released, it was unlocked, people started downloading it, and people that had fast internet connections, I have like 100 megabit to my house. I downloaded the game in no problem and downloaded it, installed it, started playing it. I was playing it about 20 minutes after they let it go on the PlayStation Network. I heard people that were basically about an hour into it, the network basically just fell over because everybody and their dog queued it up and went to bed. And these people were just like pulling their hair out. It's like, I paid for this damn game, why can't I play it, type stuff. This kind of does away with that. You pre-order a game on PlayStation, it downloads whenever is convenient, a few days before, and then as soon as it ticks to midnight, your game gets unlocked and you get to play it. You don't have to get in your car, drive across the city, go to a stupid midnight launch and deal with all the yahoos that are there. So I mean, some midnight launches are good, but some of them are they've been horrible in my experience. Now you don't have to do that anymore. If you're okay with digital versions of your games, you'll be able to get them the second that it becomes midnight, probably in the Eastern time zone, and play your game at, for me, it's like 10 p.m. Boom, there we go. Or 11 p.m. I guess. Boom, jump in, get to play it. That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's funny. Out of all the kind of pieces of this announcement of the 1.7 update, this is the one I'm most excited about, just because to me it has the biggest impact as a gamer of, potential future changes that it could bring. And I mean, this alone will probably persuade me to download some games digitally that I might not otherwise would have. I mean, this instantly made me decide I'm buying Watch Dogs on PS4 as opposed to Xbox One. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I guess time will tell whether this is going to be for PSN only titles as well. So if you're going to get your next indie title downloaded a couple days early and start playing it immediately. But yeah, the big AAA titles, I mean, that might be enough to push someone towards the PlayStation if they want to get their games the second that they're available to play them.
definitely.
All right, last up, the big thing, which is cool, not super exciting for me, but I know a lot of people that are excited, is Share Factory. And what Share Factory is it's a rich video editor for your PlayStation 4. So you'll be able to string together different clips, put different transitions in it. It looks like there's game-specific transitions too, so I don't know whether game developers are going to be programming those transitions and making them available as regular patches to Share Factory, or whether it's your like videos in 2 years are still going to have the same like infamous neon swipe going from one clip to another. But it looks really awesome. You can upload your own music to it, so you don't have to use the canned music that comes with it. It can read MP3s off of a USB drive, which is really awesome. And when you make your masterpiece and want to share it with the world, you can push it out to Facebook or push it out to a USB device. There's no direct YouTube upload yet. We don't actually even have a YouTube app on the PlayStation 4 yet, so I'm thinking that everything will be part and parcel. You'll create a video in Share Factory, you'll save it back out to disk, you'll start the YouTube app, and then start the upload from there, similar to what you do on the Xbox. Because that's how you do YouTube uploads on Xbox One, right? You have to start the YouTube app. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's great. You're still limited, as far as I can tell, to the 15-minute clips that is auto-generated by your PlayStation 4. It would be nice if you could do a full, like, I don't know, 2-hour Let's Play video, slice it up into different chunks, and then upload those right to YouTube. That's not the case yet, but it's the first step in that direction, which is a good thing for someone like me that likes to create content and put it on the internet.
Yeah, this is really kind of cool news to me, and it was so before the announcement of 1.7, we'd heard about some things
Excuse me.
with it a couple weeks ago, and as an observer, because I don't feel like I have proper experience with my PS4, I haven't had it long enough, but as an observer, I felt like the Xbox One was getting more frequent updates and more of those updates, including new features. And I kind of saw that as, okay, that's a win for the Xbox if we're counting wins versus losses.
Right.
The Xbox One needs a few wins, and one of those wins at launch, one of the few wins at launch, was the Upload Studio, the ability to edit videos, and it was a really cool feature, and I've used it a ton. So it's cool to see PlayStation or Sony respond to that, but not just, okay, we're going to do what you can do. We're going to look at what you can do, and we are going to improve it.
Sure.
Examples of this, you can, if it's a multi-clip edit, you can have 5 clips, and you have to have 5 clips, and you can have no more than 5 clips. So you can't have any less, you can't have any more. They can be different lengths, but the entirety of the clip can only be a 5-minute clip.
Right. Yeah.
Which is restricting, you know?
Oh, big time. Yeah, I mean, most of the YouTube videos that I watch for like Minecraft Let's Plays and stuff, they're usually like 15 to 20 minutes. That seems to be the standard that people are doing. You can't even do that right from Xbox One, which is disappointing. The other neat thing with Share Factory is you can record video just by hitting the share button on your PS4. So you record a bunch of 15-minute clips, splice them together. You can then go through and record commentary with the PlayStation camera or just the microphone. So you could overlay a track of commentary on the video that you're producing. So I hope at one point Sony is going to allow you to save more than 15 minutes at a time. Like if it's even like 1 hour, that would be perfect for me. Like say if we're playing Minecraft PS4 when it comes out and we want to do our Let's Play, we would just record the 1 hour segment, chop it up in Share Factory, save it out to USB, and then I'd upload it to YouTube from there. I mean, that would be the perfect solution. And with the ability to do simple titles and wipes and overlay, like voiceover after the fact, if we want to have custom soundtracks in the background as well, this could be a really useful tool. I think it's the first piece in a large puzzle, and hopefully they keep releasing pieces in a pretty quick and timely manner.
Yeah, one thing that I really hope that this will eventually lead to is when we finally do get that PlayStation second screen iPad app, being able to make these edits on an iPad, especially.
That would be sweet.
Yeah, when you're talking like longer than 15 minutes, I mean, even a 15-minute clip, I think, although I would like the ability, I would imagine it would get kind of unwieldy towards the end, or you'd be tired of doing it on the with the controller. Yeah, especially for us mouse and keyboard editors and stuff. But
yeah, exactly.
That would be cool.
Exactly. Cool.
This is huge. This is going to be an awesome update. It has lots of great features. It's not just bug fixes, and I hate the it's a good and a bad thing. I hate the updates that are like all these behind the scene fixes where it's affecting you in a positive way, but you can't see it, so it's not the same.
Yeah, exactly. Like I guess it's not all rosy. The one thing that I hope that they would sneak in would be the ability to archive your videos on Twitch. I hope that they would just sneak that in. Yeah. I mean, Xbox One has had it since Twitch came to the platform. We've had Twitch since the system launched, but you're not able to archive your videos. It's limiting. So that would be the ultimate solution for what we do.
Is I think this update also, and I'm not seeing it here, but isn't it improving the Twitch streams?
I didn't see that on any of the news posts. Okay. It could be maybe some follow-up commentary that I didn't see where they talked about that.
Yeah, I can't remember if that was with the Twitch archiving or if that was the only Twitch piece of this update.
Yeah, I think they said that when 1.7 comes out, they're going to quickly work on their next one, which is going to have Twitch improvements, the share improvements. So whether that is with this one or not, I don't believe so, but I really hope that gets kind of snuck in. That would be so good. That would be really, really, really good. All right, cool. Let's move on. Let's get into some Titanfall info. Will, you put this one in the show notes. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what might have been?
So Jeff Keighley, he does these kind of ebooks. They're interactive books on games, game development, and
they're really well done.
Yeah, have you? I read the Mass Effect one. I didn't read the Portal or the Tomb Raider one. Have you read?
I read the Portal. Did I read Portal? No, Tomb Raider, and the Mass Effect one. So I don't think I've read the Portal one as well. But I mean, they're really good. They have interviews. They have weird things that you would never get anywhere else but in here, like little tidbits from the developers. They're really well done, and I guess he makes a nice chunk of change from it as well.
Well, I would be curious what the kind of a side note, but the agreement, because he does get a very behind the scenes look, and this news item is a perfect example of that. I mean, we haven't heard this from anyone else, and it kind of sounds like it came straight from the horse's mouth through him. So it makes you wonder the agreement they have to what info that he will release. But basically, in the final hours Titanfall, it was released this last week on iPad and Android, and it just goes through the development of Titanfall. And one thing that the media kind of caught a hold of towards the end of this week was that the reason Titanfall does not exist on the PlayStation 4 is because of Sony. And I guess I should probably clarify a little bit. I don't think it's necessarily Sony's fault, but when they were at a point where they're like, okay, we really need to know what the next gen consoles are like and what their architecture is like before we kind of move any further, they met with Xbox and Xbox gave them a top secret kind of show of what was then codenamed Durango and turned out to be the Xbox One.
Right.
And they met with PlayStation heads, and basically they were not ready to discuss anything technical about the console.
That's a little disappointing.
Yeah, isn't it? I mean, the story is much more involved with that, but that was the kind of initial piece of this whole story, and then it kind of snowballed from there.
Sure.
It says, quote, "I can't emphasize enough, decisions are being made here about our game, and we really need to know about the next PlayStation." And they just wouldn't divulge any information while at the same time saying, sorry, we're not going to tell you anything about our next PlayStation, but we really think that you should put Titanfall on the Vita. Which, hey, that would have been cool too. I mean, in its own right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just, I don't know. That's funny. And this was in let me see if I can find a time. I don't know if it tells when this was, but you can't imagine that official information about the PlayStation 4 was released shortly after. I mean, Titanfall's been in development for 3 years, and that's kind of a long time, but it's also was at the edge or the end of one console generation at the beginning of another. So even if that was okay, so it says they got the briefing from Microsoft in late January, so we know that wasn't 2000. It couldn't have been 2013, I don't think. So I would imagine it would have to be 2012. I don't know. Anyway,
it's interesting. I kind of want to see this, so I just bought the app. It's like $2, which is good. I think I'm pretty sure the Tomb Raider one was like $5. So this seems like it's really cheap. So I downloaded it. I'll check it out, and if there's anything else interesting, I'll definitely let you guys know in the next episode of the DeREZD podcast.
Well, yeah, it sounds like so that was January 2012, or 13, because by early 13 February they were creating Titanfall for what would be Xbox. So I don't know. It's just interesting because we had a lot of, and eventually Microsoft did kind of foot the bill for a lot of stuff. So I think it ended up working out well for Respawn. Yeah. Kind of having that exclusive deal, but it's interesting for us as consumers to be like, oh, so there's kind of the whole story.
This is what killed it for us. or not, depending on which side of the fence you're on, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's kind of funny how quickly Respawn came out to say, yeah, no, the next one, it's going to be on all the stuff. Don't hate us. All the people that are buying the PlayStation 4 right now. So yeah, hopefully they can iterate on Titanfall quickly and come out with another iteration next year.
Well, and for them, there's no love lost. I mean, they don't care. Yeah. They do care. They care that they don't want it exclusive. I mean, they wouldn't have approached both companies otherwise. So
exactly.
So yeah, cool. I mean, it's good for Microsoft, especially this last month. It was really good for them.
Yeah, I mean, Titanfall was the top-selling game of the month, which is great. I mean, you expected that because there was the Titanfall specific console, although those numbers weren't counted towards that number, I guess, for NPDs anyway. So, but when you have a game that's going to do that well and so well that there's a console bundle created with the game included for free, you know that it's going to be popular, and I guess that's what's happening. So.
Yep.
A lot of Titanfall was sold, which is a really good thing. All right, well, let's move on past Titanfall. Let's get into some sales numbers. Before Sony let the cat out of the bag for the PS4 1.7 update, they let us know some news. The PlayStation 4 has now officially sold to consumers more than 7 million PlayStation 4 consoles worldwide, which is a ridiculously huge number. I heard a lot of people talking prior to the consoles coming out, and they thought maybe 10 million sold by the end of 2014, and now we're at 7 million. And I mean, 2014 just started, right? So that is great for Sony, and it's also pretty good for Microsoft as well. They announced, even though saying that they would never announce these numbers anymore, that at a non-press briefing for like a investors briefing, that they would never do that anymore. They came out and said, well, we've shipped 5 million Xbox Ones to stores. So that means that they've sold under 5 million, but you don't know how many under 5 million that is. So, I mean, even 5 million or 4.5 million, let's say, to err on the low side, that's still pretty damn good for a new console. It just happens that Sony's doing a little bit better. But I don't know. At the end of the year, I'm sure everything's going to kind of balance out, because that's kind of what happens with these things.
Well, and E3 is going to be big for both companies, I think.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like we are going to get a permanent price drop on the One, and I think it will be announced at E3 just to compete. I don't know. The smart thing for them to do would be to drop it to $400. I don't think they're going to do that, but
you think they're going to kill the Kinect? They're going to take it out of the box and sell a Kinectless Xbox One?
I really don't.
Do you think that ship has sailed, that they've had to go back on so much of what they wanted this console to be, that they're finally going to do that?
I don't think they are. I mean, it is so baked into the system at this point.
Well, that's what they said. They said you need it on all the time, and we later found out that that's not the case. You can actually have an Xbox One in your house and not have the camera plugged in at all, and it's perfectly fine. With the new the new manager, the new big guy in the big house, that is saying that Xbox is going to be games. That's what we care about. I wouldn't be too surprised if anything radical like that would happen around E3. They've got to save a lot of face with a lot of gamers out there that were really insulted with what the Xbox One press briefing and follow the next following couple months, I guess, of just insult after insult, and then backpedaling on everything too little too late.
See, I think it would be smarter for them to take the hit on Kinect and drop the price to 400 and still have it included.
Yep.
Than it would be for them to sell the console for 400 without the Kinect. Simply because I think from a PR perspective, it looks really bad, because then they're kind of throwing their strategy, what they proposed their strategy was from the very beginning, out the window. And here's my Kinect in gameplay. I still feel like it's very valuable in gameplay, but it consists of two things: Xbox Record that, and my Twitch camera when I'm playing Twitch, which are both gaming centric things. Sure. But I mean, that being said, I use the voice commands every time I use the system, whether I'm playing games or not. But if Phil Spencer's like, you know what, we're taking a complete gaming focus, then yeah, who knows? They might just axe it and say, you know what, you can spend the extra $75 to buy a Kinect if you want.
Yeah, I'm thinking with like the new management in Microsoft, that saying, well, we're going to drop the price, we're going to take a hit. That might be a hard sell, but we're going to pull this expensive camera out and sell the thing for $100 less might be an easier sell. I fully agree with you that removing it at this point just basically is going to kill the Kinect 2. I mean, games aren't going to be developed for Kinect, because from this point on, 5 million units into its sales, you're not going to be able to guarantee that there's going to be 5 million or more than 5 million Kinects out there in the market. But I'm looking for the easy solutions.
Yeah.
Like when they dropped the Titanfall bundle to $450 online, I mean, it sold like crazy. So it was really $390 when you think about adding a $60 game onto it, and they sold a lot while that sale was on, which is ridiculous. That months after a console release, it's already selling for like almost $100 less than what it should. But yeah, I mean, they got some ground to make up, I guess.
Well, it's crazy. There's so many new precedents is being set this console race. We have more consoles being sold than ever before, and price drops long before, or so much quicker than really any time before.
Yeah, like you got to wonder how that is also like obviously it's helping them. They move some consoles, but I wonder how many people are like, oh well, they've dropped to $50 now. I'm gonna wait till they drop it $100 or $150, waiting for that next big drop. It's so weird to see a company on the ropes so quickly when really they're not. I mean, the PlayStation 3 sold like crap when it first came out because it was so damn expensive, and then at the end of the console generation it sold more than the Xbox 360 worldwide. So I mean, this is a long game. It's not a sprint to the finish line in 1 year. They got 5 years to slowly whittle away at the lead that Sony now has. But there seems to be a little bit of panic in the way Microsoft is playing this out. So E3 is going to be interesting. I've taken that week off work, as I do most years, because that's my geek holiday that I do every year.
Awesome.
I spend some time playing games, reading about games, totally immersing myself in gaming. And I am looking forward to all the press conferences that will be coming out, because I'm expecting fireworks from both Microsoft and Sony. I think Sony's going to drop the mic again, but I think Xbox is going to try damn hard to catch that mic so they can drop it.
Yeah, well, I think the reason it is such a topic of conversation is because from the get-go, like you said, Microsoft has been on the ropes, and short of, or since their initial decisions, every decision after that has been kind of reactionary, and that is just not, you don't see that often in any sort of company, especially a tech company that is reliant on being on either the leading or bleeding edge, especially when it comes to gaming. So it's going to be cool. I feel like this E3, although last E3 was very entertaining simply because we got the console announcements and we got to see Microsoft fail and Sony just knock it out of the park, this is kind of where the rubber's going to meet the road, and it's going to give us everything we had to look forward to and actually see the true potential of these consoles, because there's been promises on both sides that still haven't been reached yet.
For
and
sure.
I expect to see a lot of those come to fruition eventually, but hopefully we'll really get some concrete stuff and awesome new games that we're going to hear about this E3, and kind of their roadmap of what they're both really going to deliver the next couple of years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I am so looking forward to it. And I mean, it's great that these consoles are selling. I mean, that's, I don't know, over 12 million. I won't say 13 million, or sorry, over 11 million. I won't say 12 million. Good, because my math skills are really good apparently. Like over 11 million consoles sold in like the first 6 months is ridiculous for anything. That just screams that this market isn't going to dry up and blow away. Like a lot of people are saying that, yeah, mobile's going to take over gaming, and Xbox is doomed, and Microsoft is doomed, and Sony's doomed, and Nintendo's doomed. Well, maybe Nintendo's doomed, but there's just so much momentum into this new console generation. It's such a good thing to see.
Yeah. Hey, this is kind of off the topic, but to respond to what you just said, I was thinking about this the other day, and this is going to be a long console generation, so we really don't know what's going to happen after this gen. But before this gen, a lot of people were like, this might be the last console generation we ever get. Mobile gaming is really taking off, and it's becoming the real gaming platform. It reaches such a bigger audience. Let me ask you this. You use your iPad for lots of things, right? You use it for work, you use it for entertainment, gaming.
Yep. Video streaming, gaming, all that sort of stuff. Yep.
The way I look at it is like this, is like if you're sitting on the couch and you had the option to watch the Avengers on your iPad or watch it on your big screen TV, which one are you going to choose?
Do you want me to be honest, or do you want me
to
be...
because you're going to shoot my my argument down. No, go ahead.
I probably watch the bulk of my television on my iPad these days, because I don't generally watch TV until after the kids are in bed, and I'm usually in bed, and I just have my iPad beside me on my bedside table, and I stream my video that way. But for most movies, like if I'm watching a movie, I watch it on my big screen. I want to watch it on my 50-inch television. I don't want to watch it on the 10-inch iPad that I have sitting beside me.
Well, and that's exactly my answer as well. My iPad is used for things that my console would not be used for, as far as consuming entertainment or gaming.
Right.
A lot of times it's situational, and if you have the opportunity to play a big budget game on an iPad or a big screen TV, all things being equal, then I would much rather play it on a console with a physical controller, and So I don't know. I think it's an enhancement to your life, and it's an enhancement to your gaming, but it's not an end all be all.
No, I fully agree. I love my iPad, but I if I didn't have it and I had to watch TV the normal way, I mean, I wouldn't be terribly upset at that. It just happens that because of the kids and the way that things have changed, I do a lot of stuff different.
Well, and your Vita is a perfect kind of connection of the two. I mean, it's not an iPad and it's not this consumer-focused gaming, but it allows you to be mobile and play your console games whenever you want. So it's kind of that bridge.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into the last segment of the show. Let's get into what we've been playing. So Will, why don't you kick it off? What have you been playing on all of your entertainment devices?
I've been playing too much. I will try to keep it somewhat condensed. So Titanfall, as always. I'm going to play some more of that as soon as we get done. That's without saying, but man, this next one, I know I've been playing it a couple weeks, but it came out on the US iOS store this week, Hearthstone. This game is so addicting. There are few games that I ever play where I'm just like, one more game. And then I finish that game. This one more game. And that has happened to me. I've like gone to sleep hours after I'd planned to otherwise this week, because I will just need one more game, and that just keeps going. This game is so good, Lloyd. We got to play it. We played it on our computers, but we haven't played on the iPads yet. And
we got to do that for sure.
For me, it's the ideal platform for it. This is kind of arguing my last point. I have the option to play it on a big screen, but I love the tactile experience of my iPad and touching these virtual cards of what, used to be a physical event anyway. So
nice.
That's cool. I've been playing around a little bit with Project Spark. I know I've talked to you about that.
You've been doing a lot of streaming on that as well.
I have, yeah. I've streamed a couple times, which has actually been kind of cool. People have been jumping in and asking me if I'm making any games. So Project Spark it's in beta, but it's an Xbox One exclusive, and basically it allows you to create and build what you want, but a lot of that can be a game. So I think I'm going to continue to mess around with it a little bit. I don't really have the time to really get too invested in it, but I do want to see if I can make some basic games and kind of show that off. So
cool.
Just like everyone else who owns a PlayStation, played and beat Infamous Second Son. Still have to go back through and try to collect all my trophies. I only went through it as a Paragon right now. So
okay.
But God, this game. I mean, I can't. It's weird because you saw the screenshots. We watched Twitch streams before, but until you actually get in this game, you and I were even talking like this is the first game. I kind of got a taste of it with Forza, but racing games are kind of that weird genre that they've always looked amazing because there's so little they have to do compared to every other game. Infamous is just amazing, and you're telling me like it's your first taste of next gen gaming, and I would totally agree with that.
Yep.
Although sorry, go ahead.
I said it's so beautiful. It's just unbelievable.
Although it's very different, it makes me not being able to wait anymore for Watch Dogs, and I was already really excited about that. But it's like,
speaking of Watch Dogs, I saw a bunch of places that are offering Watch Dog pre-orders for like $49.
Really?
Yeah, it makes me wonder why that's happening. I wonder if Ubisoft is worried that this thing isn't going to sell.
No, I think it's because they caught wind of preloading and they don't want to keep people from downloading it.
You know what? That could possibly be. Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Never know. And then this next one, I played just a little. I'm so bad at these games, but I got Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes too.
I played that as well.
I hope you're better at them than I am. It literally probably took me. I know you can beat the game if you know what you're doing in 10 minutes, but it literally took me about an hour and 15 minutes to beat the first mission. That's how bad I am.
Yeah, I beat the game, so got the ending credits. I want to say it didn't even take 2 hours to get through it, and that is save both of the prisoners. So you save them, and then boom, credits roll, and then it unlocks a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I tweeted about this. I might as well talk about it now while you're talking about it. I expect this game to look better. The Fox engine was supposed to be like the next gen engine to rule them all. It doesn't look that great. Like, it looks good, but it doesn't look Infamous good. And of course the Fox engine is multi-platform, so it can go PS3 and PS4, so maybe there's some of that stuff there. So the game didn't play well. The graphics weren't exactly what I expected, and even though I knew it was a short game, I beat it in under 2 hours, and then it unlocks a bunch of other missions which are in the same world. So you're in this like you're in this base, so you have to go rescue 2 people in the base. That's the first mission. And then it's like, okay, disable all of the anti-aircraft turrets. So you have to go out and do the exact same thing, sneak around, do the same misdirection to get around, destroy the anti-aircraft guns, escape. And then that's the next mission. Like it to me, it wasn't offering me anything new. So I'm usually someone that goes back and gets all the trophies, and I beat it, and it's like, okay, that is a thing. I'm glad I didn't pay for it with my own money. I was able to borrow it. I don't feel bad about the experience at all, because I enjoyed what little time I spent with it. But yeah, I still don't know why this thing exists, other than to scrape $35 out of the pockets of the hardcore Metal Gear fans.
I think that's exactly what I think. The original was probably delayed a little bit, and then they're like, oh,
money.
Yeah. So that's good to know, because I guess I'm halfway done with the game then. And I was like, surely that's like one of 10 missions in the game, and it just took me that long to play it. So I'm glad to know that I suck, but not as bad as I thought.
No, you're about on par for what you can expect. And I mean, it's fun, but yeah. I don't even know what to say. I mean, it doesn't look next gen. There's nothing really new about it. It's just it should be a demo, not a $35 game.
Were the controls to you kind of wonky? Because to me they were very unintuitive, and I didn't know if I should chalk that up to not playing a stealth game in a long time, or if it was just the design.
No, it took me forever to figure out how to run in the game. Like I was basically I had almost beaten the game, was just about to get the second guy out, and it's like, oh, that's how you run. All right, that makes sense.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think for me the controls seemed a little odd, because I had just spent so much time with Infamous, and it's like vastly different. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. To me, it should have just been a demo. It's a $35 game, so I expected more than what I got, and I'm gonna now for sure be taking a wait and see type attitude with Metal Gear Solid 5. I don't know if I'm going to necessarily go out and buy it on launch day like I did Metal Gear Solid 4 and bought all the other Metal Gears really close to them coming out as well. If this is what the game's going to be, I don't know if that is the next gen experience I was hoping for.
So it had the exact opposite of the intended effect on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it didn't give me, it didn't just like sort of tickle my itch and make it worse and make me want to play the game more. To me, it's like, okay, this was not good. Now I'm going to kind of wait and see before I put a pre-order in for MGS5.
Well, if I may add a little bit of perspective on the graphic side of things, personally, I was actually blown away. This was before I'd played Infamous, though, and so I didn't have any real awe-inspiring games on the PS4 yet.
Mm-hmm.
And probably the closest that I could really compare it to on the Xbox One was, I guess, Assassin's Creed.
Sure.
But to me, all the Assassin's Creed games, I don't know what the engine is, but they all kind of have that same look to them, kind of like all of the Call of Duties. It's that
Yep.
same sort of look. And so if I compared the two of those, I thought Metal Gear looked amazing. Um, but then, yeah, I played Infamous, and then everything looks like crap after that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Metal Gear Solid 5 is a thing, and I don't want to say I'm glad I played it, but I'm not angry that I played it, but yeah, I'm gonna be definitely taking a wait and see type think on whether I'm gonna pre-order Metal Gear Solid 5 or not.
Well, I beat Infamous, and I've had no desire to go back. So I will, just to beat it. I mean, I have it. It's a game, might as well. But yeah, I don't.
Did you buy it digitally, by the way?
Yep,
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yep. So whatever. It's another game to the library. Let's just chalk it up to an experience,
Totally.
right?
Totally. And you'll, if you do buy MGS5, you will get some unlocks for owning Ground Zeroes. So there you go. That's a thing.
Okay.
As well.
What else you been playing?
All right. Well, I've started. I own most of the Lego games on the PlayStation 3. A lot of them I've played and had a lot of fun with, but I have a bunch that I haven't even cracked the cellophane on. There was a huge sale that happened at a grocery store of all places here last year, where they were actually getting out of the games business. Kind of. They still sell games, but they used to have like lots of back catalog stuff and a lot of used stuff. So they were blowing out games for $5, $8, $10. So I bought like I bought a whole bunch of really easy to platinum games that I kind of knew that I'd be able to get the platinums pretty easy. And then I bought a bunch of Lego games because I know my kids would be really into it. So I bought Lego DC superheroes. I bought Pirates of the Caribbean, Harry Potter, all ones that I hadn't played before. But I've started playing all the games that I haven't played before in an attempt to get a bunch of more platinums on the PlayStation 3 before I retire the console. So I'm going through Lego Pirates of the Caribbean right now and actually having a lot of fun with that. And it's actually weird going back to a Lego game where the characters don't talk, where they just do that, which was like kind of when Lego Star Wars came out, that's what the characters did. And then they started talking in later versions, like I think it was the DC superheroes started that or something. And yeah, it's been weird going back, but I've been having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's my my trophy hunt. I'm continuing that on my PlayStation 3, going through some of my back catalog that I just haven't even played yet, which is sad and embarrassing to even say that I own games that still have cellophane on it. But when you can get games for $5, you tend to buy a lot of games, whether you play them right away or not. And that's what I did. I bought such gems as Green Lantern, the Iron Man game. What were some of the other ones? G-Force, which was the terrible hamster movie, I guess. There was a game on that. Some really terrible games, but Megamind was another one. All the ones that my kids could maybe play at some point. I bought them, and they're all like between $5 and $10 each. And I bought a stack like this. It was great. It was great seeing my wife's face when I walked in the house and I had about like 12 games in my hand. She's like, "What did you do?" It was a lot of fun. So yeah, I started that off in Lego Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nice.
Besides that, I've been popping in and out of Infamous a little bit. I haven't done since the patch. I'm going to get into that right away. I've been playing some stuff on my iPad as well. One game that I've really been digging, it's called Dungeon Quest with an exclamation mark at the end. It is a free title, and it's a Diablo-like game. So it's a dungeon hunter, jump through the dungeons as fast as possible, collecting as much loot as possible, getting bigger and badder weapons, leveling up, going deeper and deeper in the dungeon. And I've been having a really, really fun time with it. I reviewed it on the Touch Gaming podcast yesterday. Actually got a message from the developers thanking me for my review and that they're looking into it as well. Some of the things that we suggested as things. So, yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with it. So if you're looking for a fun game to play on your iPad, or I think it might be on the iPhone as well. I'm playing on the iPad. Check out Dungeon Quest. It has the most generic name ever, but it's actually a really fun dungeon brawler. It's like Diablo. You kill things, loot fountains out, you pick it up. If it's better than what you're currently using, you equip it. If not, you sell it and you continue on. And they got a really great feature where when you beat the game, there's 25 levels. The game repeats itself at a harder difficulty level, and it does that a whole pile of times, so that you can get down to floor 200, which is great. But even better, you can increase the difficulty of the enemies and go back and replay earlier levels and get more and more loot and more weapons and level up and stuff like that. So it is a lot of fun. So
it's awesome.
Yeah, check out Dungeon Quest if you have an iPad.
After listening to your show last night, I actually went and downloaded, and I just dabbled into it a little bit last night, but yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah, I'm excited to get into that.
It's pretty good for a free game, definitely. And the ads are a little bit annoying, so you buy any in-app purchase and then your ads go away, and that's great. So for 99 cents, you can have a really fun dungeon brawler Diablo-esque kind of game, which is nice. Which is a lot of fun to play.
Can't have too many of those.
No, I mean, I love Diablo, so when you say loot fountains, my ears perk up, and I want to play said game. Awesome. Well, that's going to about do it for this episode, unless you have anything else to chime in on, Will, before we close it up.
No, I think that was we covered all our bases today.
Cool. All right, well, that's going to do it for episode 9 of the DeREZD podcast. Thanks to everybody again for subscribing and checking us out, telling friends where to get it. Of course, it's available every week at vgpodcast.com. We record it live. We've had a bunch of people in the chat room and a bunch of people that have been watching the stream but have been too shy to come in the chat room. So maybe next week they will come in. But we love that you guys do it. Check it out. vgpodcast.com is our main site, and you can do it there. But yeah, it's going to about do it for this episode 9 of DeREZD. Take it easy, everybody, and we'll talk to you in about a week's time.